had to start recording again because I had unintentionally burped into the microphone. I was like, I don't want to subject people to that. So I had to start recording again. Hello. Hope you're wavy. You did great. Fantastic. Hope you're doing amazing. Pretty nice. Pretty good. Yo, I'm playing through Ratchet and Clank right now, and it's a fun game. I'm just shocked by the decision they made to basically sideline Ratchet, the main character. They're making me play as, now I know her name. Yesterday I couldn't remember what her name was, but Rivet is this other character they have, and she's like this other version of him from another dimension. She's female and whatnot. And it's shocking how much time you spend playing as well, because you wonder, like, when are they going to let me play as Ratchet again? It's like, I feel like the game is almost finished. We're reaching like the climax, and you play as Ratchet for a significant amount of the game, but it feels like for the majority of the game I've been playing as this side character, which is insane. It's insane because the game is marketed as Ratchet and Clank, which is like a very popular franchise that's been around for decades at this point. And it just feels unbelievable that I'm not being allowed to play as the main character. They're forcing me to play as this other character that they just created just now, but they marketed the game as Ratchet and Clank. And I know why they're doing it, right? It's diversity, equity, inclusion. They want a female character. They're ham-fisting her into the story. And here's the thing. Ratchet and Clank works because of the dynamic between the two characters, Ratchet's personality and all these sort of things. So you can't just swap him out with some other character. Even if it was a male character or whatever, you can't just make us play as someone else and then just expect everything to just work. It's like, we want Ratchet. People are invested in Ratchet. There was a particular boss fight I remember that came up, and you'd think they'd let you use Ratchet in this pivotal moment. No, they made you play as the other character. And at the end of our boss fight, there's a cinematic where she lands in a cool position and she looks really cool and whatnot, and then Ratchet enters the scene. He literally stumbles into frame and falls flat on his face, and it ends up with this contrast where she looks really cool and he looks really stupid. And it's it's genuinely upsetting, because you can see it's not subtle at all. You can see what they're doing, right? They're elevating her and lowering him. They could have made them both look cool, but they had to do the thing of making that contrast, and it's so obvious why they're doing it. And yeah, it's interesting, man. But there's a whole lot of weird stuff I've been noticing in the game that isn't really that subtle. There's a thing they've been going on with now, this argument, this whole conversation around being disabled and whatnot. So the female character doesn't have an arm. She has a robot arm, and it's a big thing for her, and it's part of her identity, basically, how she views herself. And Clank, which is Ratchet's robot companion, his robot buddy, he loses an arm during the adventure, and she, for various reasons, is accompany, like she's paired with Clank instead of Ratchet. Clank is paired with her instead of Ratchet, so they do missions together. And during one of the missions with her, he loses his little robot arm, and instead of replacing it, instead of like saying like we need to replace it, the whole thing becomes about him embracing it, because it's also beautiful, like if you don't have an arm and all these sort of things, which is such a weird message. Because obviously we don't want to hate on people who become disabled or anything for whatever reason, but to suggest that it's a matter of aesthetics and of preference is crazy, and it's genuinely concerning, because this is a game that's for kids. It's not for kids. Kids can play it. It's got a low age rating, so everyone can play. I think it's a game for everyone. Just like how you have cartoons that are for everyone and whatnot, like kids can watch it too. It's concerning because kids can watch that, and kids are very, very impressionable. It's very easy to influence children. And when you're putting in these messages that disabilities are a matter of preference, that, hey, like, whether you have an arm or you don't have an arm is cool either way. I understand that you're not less of a human being if you're disabled, right? And you can still have a full life and enjoy yourself and all these sort of things. But to suggest that it's just a matter of preference and one isn't better than the other is ridiculous. Obviously, it's better to have two arms than one. The human body is at its most optimal, it's at its most functional when you have all your limbs and they're all working, right? MEB. One thing I always thank God for is that my body works 100%. Like, there's nothing I can't do. I don't have any impediments. I'm blessed. It's a blessing. But now we're seeing a subversion where people are starting to suggest that no, it isn't better to have all your limbs. It's just a matter of preference, which is ridiculous. And there's such a thing as transableism, which is basically, or the transabled community, people who literally maim themselves or injure themselves to become disabled, because that's how they view themselves. Even though they're fully able-bodied, they view themselves as disabled. Like, that's a real thing. You should look it up. It's genuinely crazy. And I feel like messages like this sow seeds for things like that to take place. Because it's like he's a little robot character. Just get him another arm. He'd be more of a help to you if you had two arms instead of one. You have two arms. She has a robot arm. Why should he embrace not having an arm? It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. No, get an arm. But yeah, they wanted him to embrace not having an arm, which is crazy. He's a robot. Like, just replace it. It wouldn't even take that long. He's literally an inventor. He can build his own arm. That should have been a side mission. Get Ratchet a new arm. If there's no, not Ratchet, Clank. Get Clank a new arm. Anyway, I started out having fun with this game, but I'm just noticing these little things that are just bothering me. I'm trying to ignore them, but it's hard to ignore these things. But yeah, it's got me thinking about why it's so important to get involved. Because it's one thing to complain about these things, it's one thing to be upset about it, but I think that the solution is to then step in and do something about it, which is why I'm so motivated to write and create my own stories and create my own worlds and all that. I'd love to make a video game someday, and that is part of the plan. And there's never been a better time, like, people are getting more and more fed up with the current state of entertainment, and they're looking for alternatives, and technology is making it easier to make games, and it's reducing the costs of making games as well, so people can have smaller teams and still put out high quality products. You don't have to be beholden to certain publishers and studios and whatnot. You can create your own studio and publish your own games. So it's becoming more and more accessible to the general public of this industry, right? So it's like, yeah, it's we find ourselves getting so frustrated and angry when we see these silly people ruining a lot of these beloved franchises with these decisions, and it begs the question of what are you going to do about it. It's easy to complain. So yeah, I'm just like focused on writing my book, and I'm not against female characters. I'm not against whatever. It's just about things being done in ways that make sense, and it's done tastefully, and we're not ham-fisting all these narratives and ideologies into the story that no one cares for. And yeah, man, we just want to bring back classic storytelling, stories that people actually care about, messages that people care about. We want to bring that back, and you have to. The beauty about the free market is that people can choose, right? So the idea is that you don't ban anything, you don't abolish anything, but you just give people a choice. And I think when presented with the choice, people will go the classical route as opposed to what we're in now. This DEI era of entertainment is terrible. It's terrible. Whether they're talking about movies, or they're talking about games, or they're talking about anything, really. It's absolutely horrible. Art has taken a huge dip because of its things just are not as good these days, and I do believe it's temporary. I think we're going to see a resurgence. I think eventually things will start to even out, and these unqualified people will be booted out of the industry, not by force, but just because. Well, it will be by force, but not like not from the inside. It'll be customers choosing with their wallets who they want to support, and these unqualified individuals will go out of business, and we'll never hear from them again, which is as it should be. So yeah, I'm so focused on writing and finishing this book. And listen, it doesn't mean that we're gonna get ushered into an era where there's a complete lack of good female characters. That might be a concern some people have. Oh no, like no more cool girls in games and whatnot. That's not what that means. All it means is it's gonna be done properly. It's gonna be done properly. And also keep in mind that gaming is predominantly male. I think as time has progressed, we've seen some girls enter the space, and there's a significant amount of girls that play games, for sure. But it's still the vast majority of people that play games are male. So, gaming does cater to a male audience, but there's so many examples of games that have been made, even by men, that, don't really cater necessarily exclusively to the male audience. It's just good characters that appeal to everyone that happen to be female. And you can go down the list of like a Tomb Raider, a Bayonetta, a Princess Peach. I don't know what the girl's name is from Heavenly Sword. The girl from Beyond Good and Evil, I forgot her name. She's a very popular character as well. Eve from, I think her name is Eve, from Resident Evil. And what is her name? Jill from Resident Evil as well. Those two separate games where they were both starring in lead roles in those games. The list goes on and on. There's Zelda. There's a lot. Chun-Li, even though she didn't have her own game, she's still a beloved female character. And there's countless. There's so many. So there shouldn't be any fear that it's not going to be. It'll no longer be a space that everyone can enjoy. No, it'll be better. It'll be better. It'll be more entertaining. It'll be more. I don't like the word because it's been bastardized. They've just made it so stupid and gay. But like, it'll be inclusive, right? inclusive in the sense that you're gonna want to be a part of it and you be accepted because it's just fun. We're not playing identity politics. We don't care about any of that. It's just about the best products win, like the best stories, the best ideas win. It has nothing to do with all this other stuff, which is the mission. No one cares if you're the first black writer of this company. No one cares if you're a woman leading the project. It's irrelevant. The question is, can you get the job done? Are you actually good at what you do? Because right now, a lot of people are being put into positions of prominence because of their genitalia. Like one happens to have a vagina, therefore elevate her, and one person happens to be black, so elevate him. And it doesn't matter if they're unqualified. We're seeing a lot of that right now, and the industry is paying a hefty price for it, and a lot of companies are shutting down, and a lot of games are not meeting sales expectations because people are fed up. Look at Dragon Age Veilguard or whatever it is that just came out recently. People are roasting it online. You know, the critics are giving it high scores, but there's, for a long, long time now, there's been disparity between critical consensus and audience consensus. The critics will say something is the bee's knees, and meanwhile, you look at the audience reviews, it's like, no, that's not the case. And those games never sell well either. People don't buy them. So what is your high score? What does your high review score mean when people aren't even playing your game anyway? So the critics can go F themselves because they're not serious people. No one takes them seriously. The IGNs and GameSpots of the world, these are not serious people. But yeah, we're trying to take back these mediums that we love so much. We're tired of what these activists, these ideologues have done. And it's so sad, man. I think about Spider-Man 2, which I really, really want to play, but I know for a fact that in the first game they made you play as Mary Jane, which is so weird. Like no one said to themselves, as fans, as the audience, that, oh, I really want to play as Mary Jane in the Spider-Man game. I really want to play as Spider-Man's girlfriend. No one said that. No one wants that. But they ham-fisted in because they want you to play as a woman, even though it doesn't make sense. And you know what? If they wanted you to play as a woman in Spider-Man, you know who would have been perfect for that? Black Cat. Black Cat is an actual superhero. She's cool and she has abilities and she can fight. It would have been cool to play as Black Cat because in Arkham, in the Arkham series, in the Arkham games, you got to play as Catwoman, and her combat was fun, and her little segments, and it was done in moderation. They didn't force you to play as her too much. She had very small segments, and that was appropriate. And then you had challenge modes that weren't part of the main story, where you could play as Catwoman to your heart's content and beat up bad guys and try beat up a certain amount of bad guys within a certain amount of time, and tackle waves and waves of enemies until you die and whatnot. And that allows you to play as her as much as you want. But they didn't force her onto you in the main story where you have to keep playing with her even though you don't want to play with her because you just want to play as Batman because it's the Batman game. They could have done that with Spider-Man, where they give Catwoman small segments where you can play as her. Maybe they did. I haven't played Spider-Man 2. We'll see. But they didn't do that in Spider-Man 1 on the PS4. So I'm not sure. Don't tell me. Don't spoil for me because I'll find out for myself. But yeah, I don't think they did that in Spider-Man 2 based on what I've heard so far. But we'll see. I'll find out. But yeah, in Spider-Man 1, they made you play as Mary Jane, which is so stupid. She's a reporter. She has no powers. She doesn't know how to fight. She's dead weight. Get out of the way. All she does is take photos, dude. They literally had you playing as this girl, taking photos, sneaking around. It was so annoying, bro. I was like, why are they making us do this? So Apparently, they doubled down in the second game. Instead of removing it, they just doubled down. Some people say they enjoyed it. We'll see. Maybe they made it fun. But it's like, why? Why not let us play as Black Cat? That seems to make way more sense. If you have to have this thing of we have to play as a as a female character. It's a Spider-Man game. You have to play as Spider-Man. That's the only prerequisite. That's the only mandate. Play as Spider-Man. You'd think it's common sense, but apparently it's not. But yeah, if they have to have a female character playable in a Spider-Man game, then Black Cat would make more sense than Mary Jane. Which is, like, how don't they realize this? Anyway, like I said, there's a lot to be frustrated about. There's a lot to complain about, but I do think there's also a lot we can do. There's a lot we can do to change things and get these people out of here. We're tired, man. We're tired of their nonsense. It's really heartbreaking to see what they've done to all these franchises. What they've done to nerd culture in general. Because there's a lot of casual people in this space right now. Because in recent years, it's become very cool to be a nerd, but it wasn't always this way. You know, you get made fun of for being super into video games, into anime. Now it's like it's the in thing to be a streamer and stream games online and whatnot. You got all these girls streaming online and whatnot and playing all these games, and you got the people that are like, you know, they'll play Fortnite and Apex Legends and Call of Duty, all the popular stuff. But what do y'all know about Metal Gear, and what do y'all know about Siphon Filter, all these classic games and Final Fantasy and all this sort of stuff? There's those of us who were raised in this. I remember like playing Halo in high school and playing Halo multiplayer and playing gun game Call of Duty, playing the campaign of Modern Warfare 1 and 2, not the rebooted Modern Warfare that came out in recent years, that cannot hold a candle to the OG Modern Warfare that came out like what, 2009 or something like that, and then Modern Warfare 2 that came out a little bit after that. Like the classic video games, and raised in this stuff. So when you compare all that stuff to what's coming out these days, it's like it's not even the same thing, and it's heartbreaking to see what these people are turning the industry into, because it's been infiltrated by a bunch of activists who are absolutely unqualified to be in the positions they're in, but they're trying to reshape the industry in their image, and they're doing terrible things to these IPs and the main characters of these IPs. They made a suicide. Think about this. They made a Suicide Squad game where you play as the villains and you're supposed to kill the heroes. People think it's just like it was just an innocent idea that they executed. No, like there's a message behind that. Because obviously, you know, Batman, white male, billionaire, patriarchy, whatnot. These characters symbolize things to them that they despise, and they're trying to get rid of them. So in that Suicide Squad game, they kill Batman. Spoiler alert. They brutally murder him and piss on his corpse. That's literally something that happened in the game. You need to understand, this is the Batman from the Arkham series, the legendary Arkham series, which started around 2008 and climaxed with Arkham Knight, which came out 2015, around there. This character was so beloved, and the voice actor Kevin Conroy unfortunately passed away, so he's lost performance as this iconic Batman. Many people regard him as the Batman, like he's the voice of Batman, more so than Christian Bale and all these other people. Kevin Conroy's Batman is the best Batman for a lot of people. Kevin Conroy's Batman is regarded by many people as the best one, and his performance in Suicide Squad as Batman in Suicide Squad was his last performance before he passed away. So this was his send-off. And you know how they sent off his character? They shot him in the head and pissed on him. It's unbelievable, bro. The contempt that these new, because Rocksteady is the studio that made the original Arkham series, which is like one of the best video game series of all time, right? People love that series. It's so legendary. But the original team in Rocksteady that made that series, they're not the team that made Suicide Squad. They were kicked out and they were replaced with these activists. So these activists were the ones that were making the Suicide Squad game, and this is how they treated this Batman. It's it's actually it's like it's nuts, bro. It's nuts that they did this. It's unbelievable, but they have genuine contempt for these characters. They hate these characters. They hate what they represent. And just seeing that, so going back to what I was saying about Ratchet and Clank, when they they show that scene with the female character Rivet looking all cool, and then Ratchet stumbles into frame and falls flat on his face while she's looking all badass and whatnot. That's not by accident. They do that on purpose, because they have some agenda, some vendetta against male characters. So instead of like trying to make them both look cool, it's like, no, like let's make one look really stupid and make the other one look really cool, because it sends a message. And it's not subtle at all, and it's taking place in a lot of games. And yeah, we need to reclaim these mediums, man. They've been captured. They've been absolutely captured, and it's so heartbreaking to see what they've done to Star Wars, what they've done to a lot of Marvel. You should see what's going on in the comic book space, man. It's ridiculous. What they're doing in Marvel Comics and DC Comics, and every aspect of entertainment has been captured by these people. And it's not like they're doing a good job. It's not like people love these products. They're not selling well, any of them. Like the games, like Suicide Squad flopped. It did not sell well at all. It absolutely flopped, especially compared to the original Arkham series. Did terribly. Did absolutely terrible. And Dragon Age Veilguard is looking like it's going to be an absolute flop as well. There was Concord, which came out recently, that flopped. Star Wars, the series that they've been putting out as of late have been doing very terribly, whether it's the Acolyte or Ahsoka or whatever the case may be. They've just been doing terrible, man, because they've infused their DI agenda into all of it, and it's so frustrating, man. It's like, dude, it's really annoying. But yeah, it motivates me. It motivates me so much to finish my own story and put it out, and put out another one, and put out another one, and one day I'll make a video game and it'll be, it'll be good. It'll be good. I won't have none of this nonsense. Any of this nonsense. So, some people might take offense to some of the things I said, but like I said, this once we get out of this DEI era, the next era of greatness. Think about it. Before DEI, there was no shortage of female characters. There was no shortage at all. Now, what's happened is there's a shortage of good female characters. Now we're just getting these nonsense female characters that no one cares about, that make people angry. It's like, nah. The next era where we kind of see a resurgence of quality, everyone will be happy. I think, except the fringe, self-obsessed narcissists who always are hyper-obsessed with like representation and all that sort of stuff, where to the point where it doesn't even make sense. Like they'll be upset, but I think most sane people will be happy, because there won't be any shortage of female characters. And if we're gonna have black characters, for example, it'll make sense. It won't be ham-fisted in. It won't be for vibes. It'll actually be because there's nothing more insulting. Like, as a black person, I can say there's nothing more insulting than seeing a black person that's just there purely to fill up a slot. Like they're not interesting at all. They're full of stereotypes and tropes. Like in Assassin's Creed Shadows, with the black samurai, which is like, why are we having a game set in feudal Japan and you're giving us a black samurai? I know there's the history of Yasuke and whatnot, and they claim he used to be a samurai back in the day. There's disputes about whether that's actually true or not. But you need to understand the assignment. When you're talking about a game about samurai in Japan, people want to see a Japanese samurai. It's so simple. We don't want to see some black guy Like, yeah, I'm black. I'd like to see cool black characters, but not like this. It makes us look bad when you do shit like this. And the thing that was most insulting was the fact that this is a game set in feudal Japan. You know the music they're using for trailers, for the trailers. They're using a hip hop music. They're using a hip hop music in a game set in feudal Japan. Whenever Yasuke was on screen cutting people up, because whenever they see black people, there's a play some rap music, and the blacks will love it. It's like these people are so stupid. It does not make any sense for hip hop to be anywhere near a game like that. You know, there was no hip hop in feudal Japan, obviously. And just because there was a black person in Japan does not mean it's just not now that there's a black person on the screen play hip hop. Like, geez Louise, man, that's racist. But yeah, we're dealing with dimwits here. They don't understand this. So yeah, we need to get rid of these people, and the free market will take care of them. People will choose with their wallets, and the morons, the woke morons, will go broke, and the actually qualified people will be elevated and make quality content that everyone can get behind. I promise you. Even the more woke members of society who are gamers, they will also find a lot of pleasure and joy in this coming era of gaming. It'll include everyone. Everyone will have fun. It'll just be good content based on that, made by people who are hired based on merits, not because they checked some box, not because of identity politics or anything like that. So yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. We need to turn the page on this dark chapter in gaming. We need to turn the page. Anyway, a bit controversial, I guess. We'll see how people take this. Drop a game controller emoji if you made it all the way to the end. Drop a game controller emoji if you made it all the way to the end. Let me know what you think. You know, I like to pray to end of my videos. Therefore, God, I thank you for this individual watching this right now. Thank you for making them whole, unique, and guiding them on a path towards peace, prosperity, and purpose. Thank you for blessing this person with wonderful people in my life who love them, take care of them, bring the absolute best out of them, and thank you for maintaining the ones that are there to do the same thing. Thank you for blessing this person with love and marriage, sustain that love and marriage and making very, very happy. Thank you for blessing this person with a spirit of gratitude so they can give thanks for all the wonderful things in life, and by giving thanks they can find peace, contentment, and attract even more blessings. Let your presence be felt in this person's life so know that you're God, that you're real, that you love, that you're going to be there for them. Good health, long life, and happiness for this person, everyone that care about your mind, and pray in Jesus' name, pray, amen, 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 amen.